My name is Geri Habstritt, and I'm an Avesa quantum healer, medical intuitive, Self-Ascension intuitive counselor, and your host for Light, Laughter, and Lattes. Welcome, everyone. It has been a while since I have been on air, and so everything has been mixed up and stirred up, and so it would make perfect sense that I would be not on my regular time or my regular day. Usually my shows are Wednesdays at 3 p.m. Pacific time. But due to my trip that I just returned from Egypt, everything got stirred up and rebooted and renewed. And so everything's going to be looking a little bit differently. And so that is why I'm airing at this time. So I'm just doing it, kind of jumping in here, hoping that some of you regular folks that have been with me will just happen to find me on a Friday at 6:17, like dinner time, right here in Mountain Time. So if you're here, the chat is open. You can jump in and say hi. Please do. And just let me know if you're listening or if you have any questions, because this has been an absolute crazy month for many people, a very telling month. It's offered great clarity and it can be extremely challenging. So I'm just wanted to jump in before the month is over to offer maybe a few tips, a little bit of support, and hopefully we've got August right around the corner and things will get a little bit easier. So, like I mentioned, I just returned from Egypt. I went there with a group of healers, a group of many of them are quantum healers, many of them are in the Self-Ascension community, all of them were. And it was a very profound trip. It was a huge healing, a huge renewal, and a reboot. I think it took me a good 2-3 weeks of processing when I returned. We were in very, very, very high frequency energies in many sacred sites. We had special access to places and opportunities that have never been available before. And it was a very, very profound journey, but it sent me on a complete reboot of pretty much everything in my system and in my life. So there's a lot of new creation energy coming forward for me, new ideas, new things. That's always the great advantage of receiving a reboot. And something that I want to share with you, if you are on the brink of a reboot, you may not know, because it's not clear to you. A lot of these things aren't clear to you. But if you're being called to do things differently, then you'll know. And what I mean by that is if you have new opportunities coming your way, possibly new friends coming your way, maybe friends saying, hey, let's go do something different that we haven't done before. Or maybe you feel called to travel to a foreign country, or you just have different things showing up that aren't normally there. And rather than having this uncomfortable feeling because it's not part of your pattern, it's not something you normally do, and most people tend to feel a little bit uncomfortable when it's anything new. And that's just kind of the nature of newness. It's an unexpected, it's an unknown, and the ego doesn't know what to do with that. And so take note of those things, because oftentimes that's your soul nudging you to repattern yourself, to create an opening so the soul's energy can come in. And it has a hard time doing that when you're in a pattern. The mind will stop a lot of that experience of the soul coming in when you are in a pattern. So if you think about yourself as an energy moving through creation, anytime you do something or create something, let's say there's just a light line created, and then you do it again, and maybe you get up at the same time, and you get dressed the same way, you wear the same clothes, you listen to the same music, you drive to work the same same direction, you eat at the same restaurants. You're like engraving, the more you do it, a strong pattern. And when you do that, it's more challenging for the soul to come in and uplevel you, because like that pattern blocks it out. So it's a much easier if the mind is completely relaxed. And the way the mind gets relaxed and the ego relaxes is when you kind of shake it up, you do something different. And so I've had a few of these. The most profound ones I have is when I travel somewhere out of the country. Usually the time zone is different. Usually the day is different. Usually the monetary system, the language, everything is different. So when you're in those situations, it's a surrender, right? And surrender has always been one of the keys to receiving the energy of the soul. And so when you travel to these places, the ego, the mind, it can't control any of that because it doesn't know how to. And those are great opportunities for receiving. So I kind of went through this. I had, new people showing up saying, "Hey, you want to go here? Do you want to go to a paint and sip?" Well, I don't paint that often. It's kind of uncomfortable for me because I'm not great at it. I don't know what to do. And that was a profound moment for me where the soul's energy was allowed to come in because I was in this state of basically surrender. I didn't know what to do with it, right? And I had a series of these over the course of the days. I became aware that I was being called to repattern myself so I could receive a reboot. And then when I was aware, I consciously drove in different directions, consciously got up and created a new routine for myself. And this could be even just flipping things and doing them in a different order. For example, when I go to the gym and work out, I often go on the elliptical, then lift weights. Well, I started turning it around. And you'll notice that you create a great opening and a great opportunity for an up level when that happens. So I just got done going through that. I'm actually still going through that. And I guess part of that is that I'm here today on a Friday at 6 as opposed to a Wednesday at 4. And this is not going to be a pattern for me. I'm doing it today just because it's a profound week right now of expressing and talking your truth and putting that manifestation active energy into the universe. And so I wanted to make sure that I got a little more light, laughter, and lattes out into my creation field. And so I invite you to do the same. There's still, the weekend, it's a good opportunity to speak, express, and, bring that creation energy, anything that you want more of into your life and into your experience, put it out there and actively do it right now. So, another thing I wanted to add too about this reboot energy, and one of the things I was really called to do while I was in Egypt, when I was at many of the sacred sites, was to walk around these sites counterclockwise as opposed to clockwise. And it was like a knowing that things needed to unwind. The way we've done things in the past needed to unwind, needed to be reversed. Patterns in the body, cycles needed to be unwound and changed. So in the collective experiences that we've had as a soul in form, there has been many, many, many times where the end result has not been good. And largely due to our patterning in our DNA And we keep doing things the same way, the same way, the same way. And we all know that if we think the same, do the same, we'll get the same results. Well, we're at a time where we can have a phenomenal result that's completely different than we've ever had before. But part of the ease of allowing that to happen is to literally unwind the old way of being, the old way of thinking, the old belief systems, and the patterning of our body and our DNA. And so I've been having these food sensitivities that have, caused a lot of inflammation in the body. And I just got my report back, and literally, if I go through the report, I'm being called to eat or nourish myself with the opposite of what I have been eating or nourishing with. And, right down to, the drinks. I love red wine. Well, that's now bad for me, but beer is good for me. And I'm not a beer drinker. And I would normally use maple syrup or dates because they're extremely healthy for any kind of a sweetener. And now that it's extremely bad for me, but cane sugar is good for me. And I could go through the whole report. And I sat there because we are in a profound time of mirrors where our soul and our subconscious energy is speaking to us so loudly. And it was this: the body is wanting to receive everything differently. Everything differently. I mean, the patterning goes so deep. Change it up. Eat different foods. Nourish yourself differently. And even these sensitivity experts on the elimination diets will say, don't eat the same thing 2 days in a row. Switch it up. Eat a different diet every other day. And I don't know many people that do this. I think people get in a pattern of eating the same kind of things. We pattern ourselves so easily, and our body literally functions better if we don't do that. If we make it a point to eat differently, or at least every other day or every third day. So I've been busy actually making menus for myself so I can, when I'm busy, I can go quickly to something different every other or every third day so that I don't get in a pattern. I want to share quite a bit more about the energy of this month. This energy of this month has been mirrors, 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 and reflections. And so always life is mirroring us. But this month has been all about that. So normally it would be, like maybe a faint mirror, like think of it as like a gray color. Things are kind of mirroring, but there's other things in there too. And so it's a little bit muddy. But this month has been a crystal clear, in your face, exact mirror. And that can be extremely challenging because you are constantly being shown the subconscious energy, your shadows. The shadows are constantly being revealed. But so is all the other stuff too, what you're thinking about, what you're focusing your energy on, and your dreams and your desires. And if you, are carrying gratitude and a lot of those love, that'll come back to you immediately. So depending on where your energy has been and your consciousness has been, this could have been an amazing, amazing month for you. If not, it can be really challenging, but it can offer a lot of clarity to what it is that still needs to be healed, looked at, loved, forgiven. And it'll offer you the clarity and the support necessary to move forward in these next months. But the key is that you need to be looking at the reflections and realizing that they're there for you to look deeper, to go inside. What are they telling you? And so it's the month's almost over, but if you can journal about some of the things that have challenged you this month, and some of the things that have shown up around you, that you've loved, that's been great. So it's this great opportunity time for reflecting and really profound growth if you take time to harvest the gifts. One thing I know for sure is a majority of the unhealed stuff in all of us has a tie back to one of our parents, or a tie back to, it could be a guardian, whoever that might have been, a grandparent. And during this month, I took a class, and I believe many of you that are listening to it probably took it too, Sacred Sequence of Incarnation, which is a class that really says that before we came here, we chose our birth parents, we chose our birth date, we chose our birthplace, and we influenced the one who was going to pick our name with the name that would be best for us. And so we literally set ourselves up for success. We set ourselves up so if this time right now should come, we would have had all the grit that we needed to walk through. We would have obtained the strength, the clarity, the wisdom, all of that, so that we could be here now in our highest presence, in our mastery presence. And so I don't know what that looked like for all of you, but I've seen many, many clients to know that usually a lot of the healing work I do goes back to one of those guardians, because those are where our first challenges began. That's where the ego was developing based on, that hurt inner child that had a tough life. And so, has that inner child been fully healed of those experiences? That can really make or break the joy that you're experiencing right now. If you've taken time to look at those things and heal them, you're probably feeling pretty darn good. If you've shoved them and hid them and tucked them, you're probably not feeling that great, because those are the things that are probably revealing to you right now in those mirrors, saying, hey, I'm over here, I'm ready to be healed. And so if you can look at them from a distance and witness and smile at them and laugh at them, great. That helps to break it right there. But one of the things, there's this really good exercise that I like to do, and it's called the Dear Mom or Dear Dad letter. It can be Dear Grandma, or whoever the main guardian that you had that watched over you, that probably gave you the greatest amount of challenges. So that person was a master. They did their job perfectly, and they offered you gifts. And so what we're going to do with that is harvest those gifts, because it wouldn't be a gift if you didn't dive into it and receive what it offered you. It would be a gift that went unopened, and you don't. I don't think you want that. So here's the exercise. You can take out a piece of paper. Best to do writing, not on a computer, and start out with Dear Mom or Dear Dad. One thing I've always wanted to hear from you was. One thing I've always wanted to hear from you was, and then write and write and write and write till you're exhausted. And then when you're done, go back into that letter, and anywhere where you referred to the mom or the dad, or you're saying you did this or you did that, and I would have liked, change those into I's. One thing I would like to hear from me is, and then reread that letter. And you will find after you read that letter that these are all things that you came here to receive from yourself. And you were looking for an outer person to give you those things. And they were reflecting it to you, on a level that you were giving that to yourself. And you may be saying, well, I was just a baby when some of these things happened, right? And so it may be a reflection from previous lifetimes, and based on the work that you did then, this was what was left, and this was up for healing. So you came in to learn that. And so once you get done with that letter, you're going to want to journal. You may want to tap. You may want to scream if there's emotions around the anger of things that have happened. Please scream, because there's a history that goes back that it's not okay to be angry. It's not okay to release these pent-up emotions, and these pent-up emotions in the body are what cause dis-ease. So find a way, get in your car and go scream it out. Get a pillow when everyone's gone and swing it over your head and yell, pretend the face of whoever is on the bed and you're hitting it with the pillow. Whatever you need to do, release that. And as you release those energies, that's when the gifts start to reveal themselves. It's like there's layers and layers and layers. And as you heal those layers, the gifts start to reveal. It's like polishing a pearl, right? So it's all the grit that you're releasing on the outside, and at the bottom, it's like, oh, there's the pearl. And then you can journal on what did that grit offer you? There's always a gift in some of these things. Even in horrible experiences, at the very least, you learn to be strong. You're in a world right now. I think of some of the things that my kids went through as I was going through a very challenging divorce for many years, and, almost all the years of my youngest son. And I think, wow, what a childhood he had. But now he'll often say to me, well, Mom, I'm fearless now. There's nothing I can't do. And it's like, wow. And, and I apologized for, things that weren't as great for him, and that maybe they were better for the other kids because they were older. And his comment to me is, well, I learned a lot from that. So how are we to know that we didn't design all of that so that we could be right here, right now, at this grand opportunity, having lived through the tough things, gained strength, like the saying, if, which doesn't kill you makes you stronger. It's so true. And so all of these things really need to be harvested, and then you need to be celebrated for going through it all and being here and harvesting and doing the work, because all of that has brought us to a really spectacular time. Okay. And one thing you'll learn from this experience is, like, wow, I created all this, right? If I set myself up and I chose my parents, and all these unconscious things created all these experiences, I'm a creator and I'm responsible for all of this. And if I can create that, what else can I create when I've healed all of this? And I just wrote an article on this whole subject, and the editor got back to me and said, I was going to ask you if you wanted to offer me any revisions, but I was so triggered by the article. I'm guessing that there aren't any revisions and that there's literally no one else to blame. And I responded back, I'm like, bingo, you're right. There is no one else to blame. We are that good. We are either creating consciously or unconsciously. And it's when we start blaming that we forget what powerful creators we are, and we choose to not look deep enough to find out where we were responsible, and we didn't want to see that responsibility, no matter what it was. I mean, it might be that you just had an experience that sent you in a cycle of what I call destruction, where you started shoulda, woulda, coulda, and beating yourself up for something you did. And maybe you had that experience to show you that you're in that cycle. So there's lots of different reasons, but an inner reflection, especially in this month, will offer you great clarity. And besides the subconscious reflections, some of the reflections I'm seeing is instant manifestation times 10. I mean, faster than it has ever been. And miracles. I've experienced some miracles in my life that were mind-blowing to many people. And so it's fabulous, what's possible right now. Really, anything is possible, if we can just get past our minds and realize our unlimitedness. Okay, so I want to do a quick cards of clarity reading, and I'm going to just pull 3 cards today, and I'm asking that may the highest be revealed for all that'll be watching this show. Okay. So the archangels are with us today. I pulled 3 archangel cards. The first one is Archangel 11. Now remember, we are in mirrors, so this is a direct mirror for those who are listening or watching. Archangel 11, jovial. Beauty is everywhere, and it's time to acknowledge this in every moment. Begin with a declarative knowing all is beauty. This opens the doorway to greater recognition that every expression of the divine has its own beauty. The key here is every expression, not just those through the filter of this world we deem as beautiful based upon an illusionary perspective. Call forth and claim your divine mastery presence through seeing the beauty in all. This moment will unravel many myths that are trying to hold you in your grip, and they have their beauty as well. So that's harvesting. Basically, it's harvesting the gifts of the challenges, right? They never look beautiful up front until you harvest the gift. You get the jewel, the polished pearl, and you're like, wow, it was beautiful. It wasn't fun, but it was beautiful. Okay, Archangel 1, Zadkiel. You are being reassured with the energy of freedom, mercy, and forgiveness. Ask yourself, how is this energy expressing in your world and situation? Are you feeling stuck? Has judgment entered or clouded your clarity? Perhaps the one to forgive first is yourself. You are doing the best that you can within the context of your situation. It is time to know that truth without doubt. And the final one, Archangel 8, Haniel. Haniel, the presence of divine flow is around you now. You are being invited to be one with it. The harmony of all life is a delicate balance that sustains all without taking from any. Notice how you are creating harmony in your world. Whatever you are seeking to manifest is ready to birth. All you need to do is remember that balance is a harmony worthy of your greater attention. Say yes and accept that. You are ready to live in the spaciousness that is ever abundant through self-acceptance of your divine mastery, presence, flow in action. All right, fabulous. Okay, so thank you everyone for listening. I want to put a little plug in There is going to be a new Oneness Talk radio show on Mondays at, let me see, it's 10 p.m. Mountain Time, 9 p.m. Pacific Time. No, 11 p.m. Mountain Time. Yeah, that's right. 10 p.m. Pacific Time, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And it's going to be me and Jen. So it's going to be Jen and Geri, the Cosmic Queens, offering weekly wisdom. And it's going to be every Monday morning at that time. Probably just a 15 minutes, quick little energy of the week, maybe a quick little cards of clarity reading, just a short little show. And so I invite you all to, oh, hey, there are some people here in the chat. Hey, Rachel. Hi. Hi, Lynn. Glad to see you here. So thanks for jumping in. So I invite you to tune in to Oneness Talk Radio, either Facebook or YouTube on Mondays. And again, that time is 10 a.m. Pacific time. And it's going to be Jennifer Smith and I for a 15-minute deal every Monday. And then also, I'm still in limbo on Light, Laughter, and Lattes. I think I'll may come back with a new name, and it'll probably be every other week, probably same time. But still, it's a creation in progress. So I invite you all. We've got just a couple days left in July here. Enjoy what the mirrors are showing you. And if you can't enjoy it, and laugh at them, because literally you can laugh at them, harvest those gifts, get really clear, spend a little time journaling and doing the healing, and you will be delighted and grateful as we move forward with the rest of this year. So namaste, everyone, and happy weekend.